Yes. Let's do it. All right, you're live. All right. I'm gonna text out the link right now. Okay. Nope. I know.
You might tweet out.
Hey, I'm Danny, by the way.
Hi. Oh, Danny, I've talked to you over email. I'm Travis.
Hey, great to meet you. How are you?
Good.
Scott, good to see you again, man.
How you been? Dude, how you doing, man?
Hey, great. How are you, dude?
Doing very well. How you doing?
Good, man. Thank you. Oh, I got your email too. We talked, so thanks for coming out.
Yeah, no problem.
Sorry, viewers.
The hard way.
Alright, I'm gonna start right now.
Side there, but I'll just see you guys upstairs.
Okay. Sounds good. Do you have the link? I could tweet it out real quick. It's on the Missouri Times Twitter, and I just texted it too.
Okay.
So we should get that. Hey, flip your camera. Yeah? Like this? Better? You're good. Rachel. Yeah, she said it's cool.
Awesome. Okay, good.
Sorry. No, you're fine. I'm just total coverage.
Stay out of cameras, and here I am.
There you go.
Hey, Brett. On the road.
said.
No, you're right. Gonna make it in time?
Maybe. I'm gonna get the back of you anyway. Oh, go ahead, man. Maybe. Yes. Yes, you are alive.
I'm ready. Go ahead.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for being here this morning. I know a lot of folks here. My name is Jay Barnes. I'm a state representative. I represent Cole County in the Missouri House of Representatives. And over the last 11 years, I've had the opportunity both to work for and with a number of conservative leaders in Missouri. Ones I put on the top of that list are Mike Gibbons, Matt Blunt, Kenny Holzhoff, and Todd Richardson. This morning I have the privilege of introducing to you a man who I think could be the greatest conservative leader Missouri has ever had, and that is Eric Greitens. Unfortunately, as you are all well aware, for 7 of those past 11 years, we have had a man in the governor's office whose idea of leadership is to hop on a taxpayer-funded plane, fly around the state, stand behind a podium, pound his fist against the podium, and insist that the Republican General Assembly go along and toe his liberal line. All the while refusing to just do the much more less expensive thing, walk down the hall, walk up a flight of stairs, and actually speak to a real-life legislator or a real-life Missourian. I think you'll learn today and over the course of the next year that Eric Greitens is the opposite of that. It's unfortunate, but Jay Nixon is nothing new. For 20 of the past 24 years, Missouri's governor's mansion has been occupied by people just like Governor Nixon. Liberal Democrats who have taken our state in the wrong direction. I believe we deserve better, and I believe Eric Greitens is a much better choice to move Missouri forward. Now, before I turn it over to him, they've asked me to introduce him. When you ask a lawyer and a legislator to introduce somebody, they're going to take their time, and I've got cans of audit. But I want to tell you about who Eric is. Eric has spent his entire life serving his fellow Americans. He's a graduate of Missouri public schools, earned a scholarship to go to college. After college, he was a Rhodes Scholar. Now, I think most Americans who are Rhodes Scholars either go on to be in academia and live in these ivory towers that you can't touch, or they go on and make a lot of money. Eric decided not to do either of those things. He decided to become a Navy SEAL. I'd like to see the proportion of Rhodes Scholars who then immediately left to become a Navy SEAL. He was an officer in the Navy SEALs. He served not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. And when he finished that, he had another opportunity. He could have gone with that resume and made a lot of money anywhere in the world. And he didn't. He started a not-for-profit called The Mission Continues. And at The Mission Continues, Eric and the folks he works with help veterans returning home transition back to civilian life. And we're talking about veterans who are suffering from significant injuries, who have post-traumatic stress disorder. In leading The Mission Continues, Fortune magazine named Eric one of the world's 50 greatest leaders. Not one of the 50 greatest leaders in Missouri or in the United States, but in the entire world. And that was in 2014. In his spare time, Eric writes books. He writes best-selling books. These books or about how to be successful in life. His latest is a book called Resilience, which I have read. It talks about how to overcome tremendous obstacles in life. And I think it is must-read material for anyone, not just people dealing with significant hardships, but anyone who dares to be the best they can be in anything that they try. Eric is married. His wife, Sheena, is also a scholar. They have a son named Joshua. I don't know where he finds the time to do this, but he runs marathons. He's a champion Taekwondo guy, and he happens to box on the side as well. That's a resume that's really hard to believe. I didn't quite believe it the first time I heard it. So people like that don't exist anymore. That's something out of a Rudyard Kipling novel in the 19th century. Eric knows from these experiences that leadership does not come from 20,000 feet in the air or from pounding a podium. It comes from listening to people who are on the front lines. That's what he learned in the Navy SEALs, and that's why he's spending 3 months going around the state talking to Missourians, just like Mr. Stumpy, just like others in this room, about what we believe needs to happen to move Missouri forward. And what I can assure you from knowing Eric is that he is a boots on the ground type of guy. Eric is a Navy SEAL. He knows that to move Missouri forward, it requires listening to real people, folks just like you and I, and that's what he's going to do over the next 3 months, over the next year, and hopefully over the following 8 years as governor of the state of Missouri. And so with that, this morning it is my great honor and privilege to introduce to you the man I believe will be Missouri's next governor, Eric Greitens.
Well, good afternoon. Hey, great to have you guys out here. Jay, thank you very much for the introduction. Really appreciate it. It's been an honor to get to know you, to work with you, and I'm looking forward to what we can do together. So as Jay mentioned, I'm a Navy SEAL. I am a business owner. I am a native Missourian. I am also a very proud husband and father. As Jay mentioned, Joshua is coming up on his first birthday. I just got a situation report from back home, and he is at this very moment involved in taking all of the socks out of the sock drawer. Right, so that's his contribution to the campaign. Look, we're all here because we know that we have to take action to move Missouri forward. I also believe that it's important for all of us to serve a purpose that's higher than ourselves. I think that when we have the humility to serve a purpose that's larger than ourselves, it's amazing to see what we can do together. When we look around Missouri, we see that over the course of the last decade, Missouri was 42nd in job growth of all the states. When we look around Missouri, we see that only 26% of our fourth graders are reading at proficiency. There was just a report card that came out about the ability of states to move folks off of welfare and into productive work, and Missouri got an F grade. We know that we can do better. But in order for us to do better, we have to recognize that the solutions are not going to come from big government, they're not going to come from more spending, and they're not going to come from people who just think about these things. They're only going to come from people who are willing to get down with people on the front lines, put their hands on a problem, and figure out what we can do together. Now, I'll just give you a sense for what brought me here today. 15 years ago, I did have to make a decision about the course that my life was going to take. I was very fortunate. I got some scholarships to go to school, and at the end of my studies, I was facing a choice. The university said, hey, Eric, you can stay here, you can teach. It was an offer that promised a lot of freedom. It was interesting. There was an offer from a business that said, if you join us, we will pay you more money in your first year than both of your parents combined had ever made in any 1 year. And then I had this offer from the United States Navy. And the Navy said to me, if you join the Navy, they said, we will pay you $1,332.68 per month. They said, and the minute that you sign up on the dotted line, you're going to owe us 8 years. In return for that, they said, we'll give you one and only one chance at basic underwater demolition SEAL training. If you make it through the training, you'll be on your way to being a Navy SEAL. But he said over 80% of the students quit as they go through the training. And if you quit, you're still going to owe us 8 years, and we'll tell you where and how you're going to serve. Truth is, it's not actually a very good recruiting pitch, right? But I made a decision to stand up, raise my right hand, to take an oath, to defend our country, to defend our Constitution, because I do believe that there comes a time in all of our lives when we have to be willing to step forward, to do something hard and do something difficult on behalf of a mission that we believe in. And I was honored to serve in Afghanistan, in Southeast Asia, in the Horn of Africa, and Iraq. And people will tell you that serving in the United States military is hard. I will also tell you that it was a great joy. And it was a tremendous privilege to serve. I remember one moment we were in Southeast Asia and in 2 boats, completely darked out. We're doing 50 knots through the ocean. I remember I had this moment where I just paused and I thought to myself, I am so thankful to be here with all of these people who've dedicated years of their life to serving our country. I remember the first time I stepped up to jump out of a plane. Now, when you do this, your heart is beating and your stomach's turning over. And I remember as I stepped up, I'm in front of the open door, and I just thought to myself, I said, you know what? Thousands of warriors have stepped forward to do this before me. Thousands are going to step forward after me. And one of the reasons why we've always been able to be a strong country is because people have always been willing to step forward in this service. One night, I was walking through the desert. We're on night vision, so you kind of see the world through this kind of green haze. And I remember thinking, there's somebody to my left and there's somebody to my right, and they are both willing. They're both willing to give their lives for every person who's in this platoon. That's the kind of people that we have. That's the kind of dedication that there is to a mission that is about more than self. It's dedication to a mission that is about service. And when you go through the SEAL team training, they ask you to do some really tough things, and they push you physically and emotionally and spiritually, and they have you swim in 50 meters underwater. They ask you to swim down 50 feet, tie a knot, and come back up. They tie your feet together and your hands behind your back. They throw you in the pool. They do all of these things, but as you're going through the training, what they also always insist on is that you listen. And I can guarantee you, when an instructor is teaching you how to arm a Claymore mine, you listen. When they teach you how to do a parachute landing fall, you listen. When they teach you what it's going to take to actually save your buddy's life if he's in trouble, you listen. We did this not only in training, but after every patrol in Fallujah. We'd come back, take off your body armor, and you sit down at a chair at a table like this, and you talk. You say, what can we do better? What did you see? How can we better accomplish our mission? What do we need to do better together? And when you spend time like that listening, you begin to see that every single person has strengths. Every single person has abilities. Every person also has insights. And when you listen like that, you start to figure out how you can truly solve problems. Now, when I came back from Iraq, I had been serving there as a commander in Al-Qaeda targeting cell. My unit's mission was to capture mid to senior level Al-Qaeda leaders in and around the city of Fallujah, Iraq. And in March of 2007, my team was hit by a suicide truck bomb. Now, I was very fortunate. I was taken to the Fallujah Surgical Hospital. I was treated there. I was able to return to full duty 72 hours later. But a lot of my friends were hurt far worse than I was. One of my buddies who was standing right next to me had a very severe head injury. He was casevac'd all the way back home. When I came home, I went to Bethesda to the Naval Hospital to visit with some recently returned wounded Marines. Now, you ever had the experience of walking into one of those hospital rooms? As I know many of you here have had personal experience of. You walk into one of those hospital rooms, and you're often talking with very young men and women. And I asked everybody there, I said, we talked a little bit about our units, our deployments, and we joked a little bit about our different hometowns. And I said to each one, I said, tell me, what do you want to do when you recover? And every single one of them said to me, I want to return to my unit. They all said, I want to go back to my unit. Now, the harsh reality was for a lot of those men and women, one guy had lost both of his legs, another lost use of his right arm, part of his right lung, another lost a good part of his hearing. What was happening at the time is they were coming back and they were being sucked into this government bureaucracy that was almost designed to help them to think of themselves as disabled and dependent. Many of you, again, who have personal experience of this here know But what the VA will do now, we now have the VA as the second largest bureaucracy in the federal government, second only to the Department of Defense. $180 billion we spent on it last year, 325,000 full-time employees. And while there are some heroic doctors and nurses in that system, the system is rigged now so that it's set up and they say, sir, if you have a 60% disability, we will pay you as if you were 100% disabled as long as you don't work. What happens is all of these incentives are aligned in the wrong direction. And as these men and women come out, these were people who once, Army Rangers, United States Marines, Air Force parajumpers, they'd signed up to do something hard, but now they found this whole government system was actually designed to help them think of themselves as disabled and dependent. What I did, I knew there was a better way, so I donated my combat pay, a couple friends put in some money, and we started an organization called The Mission Continues. What we do at The Mission Continues is that we work with returning veterans as they come home to help them to live productive, purposeful, and meaningful lives again here. I'll tell you just one story. Our very first Missouri veteran was a guy named Tim Smith. Now, Tim was in community college when September 11th happened. He joined the United States Army. He had a rough deployment overseas, so 8 of his friends killed one day. So other friends carried off the battlefield wounded and disabled. When Tim came home, he was dealing with some physical injuries. He was also dealing with post-traumatic stress disorder. And he was waking up every night. He was looking for his rifle underneath his bed. He was having some trouble relating to his wife and his one young son at the time. But when I sat down with Tim, again, just like you and I and all of us are going to sit down today and talk, I sat down with Tim and I said, Tim, I know that you can do more. You can do more for our community. You can do more for our country. We put Tim through our program at The Mission Continues. We started to serve again in the community. We also connected into private sector mentors. And what happened for Tim was that at the end of our program, he started his own business. Today, Tim Smith is the CEO of Patriot Commercial Cleaning. Patriot Commercial Cleaning is a commercial cleaning business here in Missouri. And Tim has over 42 commercial cleaning contracts. He's hired over 36 other veterans who now are going to school, many of them during the day, and working for Tim at night. Tim has become a leader in our community. And we have done this, as many of you know. We've done this with thousands of veterans around the country. We started with My Combat Pay. Together, we've been able to raise $37.9 million. And we did this by going to people who did crawfish boils for us, and they ran 5Ks, and it was young people in their classrooms going out collecting quarters and dimes and nickels. And when you come to the line, when you look at our balance sheet, on the line that says government funding, it says $0 and 0 cents. We solved this problem by calling on private businesses, by calling on churches and on synagogues, calling on community organizations, by calling on over 100,000 volunteers who have come out and have served with us at The Mission Continues. And we have been able to change lives and to save lives together. And when I, as inspired as I am by what we have been able to do at The Mission Continues, when I look around Missouri, I see that we also have a lot of other challenges that need to be met. So Missouri's 42nd in job growth over the course of the last decade. Over the course of the last decade, the average state, their economy grew at 7.0%. Missouri's grew at 0.8%. We look back and we say, over the course of the last decade, we're 43rd in wage growth. All of these aren't just statistics. What this means at a very practical level is that people's kids and grandkids are moving outside of Missouri because they don't have the same opportunities here that they'd have elsewhere. We say that only 26% of kids are reading at grade level in 4th grade. It means that those kids, you guys know how this works. You learn how to read, and then you read to learn. And these kids are growing up through no fault of their own, and they're not going to have a chance at a first-rate future in this country unless we do something different for them here in Missouri. I told you that we got an F on our report card. It's actually in our ability to move people off of welfare to work. Of all of the 50 states, Missouri was ranked 50th. Again, what does that mean? That means that somebody with talents and skills and abilities is not contributing those to the economy. What does that mean? That means that there are people who should have a chance to live a life of purpose and dignity and meaning who aren't getting that chance. And we can do better than that here in Missouri. Now look, I know that this is going to be hard, but I have done hard things before. I have taken on tough missions and I've built great teams. I've been willing to step forward when we needed a different solution. And I've been tough enough to fight for what is right even when that is not popular. I can tell you, Sheena and I are 100% committed to this effort. And Joshua, he doesn't really have a choice, so but he's coming on board. The whole family's coming on board because we know that this is important. And I'm doing this because I know that this is the right thing to do. I have also found in my life that every time I have seen someone step forward to do something that is tough, to do something that is right, they have been guided and supported and aided by thousands of helping hands that have come out to help them. And I know that I can't do this alone. If we're going to do this, we're going to have to do this together. People are going to have to step forward and do things differently than they've done in the past. And we're going to have to talk to our neighbors. We're going to have to get energized. And we're going to have to figure out together how we're going to solve some of these problems. But I think the greatest thing that we can all do together is to expand people's sense for what is possible. People in Missouri have gotten so used, to being disappointed by their leaders that they are almost ready to expect fake, regurgitated, mediocre leadership, when in fact they deserve better. We all deserve better. What I know is that you can do something lasting. Right? We can do something lasting. If you and I and all of us in this room come together, we can make sure that our kids are handed better than third and fourth rate chances. We can do something lasting. We can build a Missouri that is prosperous, a Missouri that is safe, a Missouri in which we protect people's liberties so that everyone has a chance to live a life of freedom, a Missouri in which we know that all of our kids are going to get a fair shot at the American dream. One of the things that I recognize serving in the military is that our lives are not fully our own, and sometimes our days can be numbered in ways that we don't know. And I served with a lot of men who are no longer with us. And I think the way that we honor their legacy is by seeing that their values of service and of sacrifice and of hard work live on. And I have done hard work. I have calloused hands from working with my friends and my teams to solve tough problems. A lot of politicians, they have sharp tongues, but they have soft hands. They've never been out to do real work. And I am here with all of you because you are people of action. And the thing is, politicians don't make enough time to come out and to listen to people like us. They come around, they ask for your money, they ask for your vote. What they don't ask for are your ideas. They don't ask for your solutions. We have been going out, and I've been working shifts in emergency rooms. I've been going out visiting with hog farmers, spending the night out with police, visiting charter schools. We're doing these things, and I can tell you from my perspective, it is inspiring. It is hopeful. Because when you spend some time, when you spend even a night, when you spend a day walking in somebody else's shoes, you see that they see these problems clearly and that there are possibilities for real solutions for all of us. And what's really hopeful for all of us, is that at the end of the day, our founders left for us a republic. And that is a word that we don't talk about enough now, but essentially, because we are a republic, what that means is that at the end of the day, the choice that matters is the choice that we make. We can all make decisions about the direction of our state moving forward. Our fate is in our hands if we choose to step forward and to shape that fate. And the first choice that I have made as we've begun this effort is to be here with all of you, to talk with you, to learn from you, to hear from you. And I am honored to be here with all of you today. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks again, everyone, to being here. You guys crowded room, so
We'll make time for every person who's here. We'll make time.
he's going to make time to come around. I think you will get the opportunity to speak to him today. You will come to believe, as I do, that Eric is a great leader and will be a great leader for our state.
Making sure.
Hold down the fort at the St. Louis office while we're blue glasses.